You are hungry. Not the kind of hunger that arrives because you skipped lunch. Not the mild irritation that sends you looking for a snack. This is the kind of hunger that follows you everywhere. It wakes up with you. It walks beside you. It sits beside the fire at night. It whispers a simple question every single day. What are you going to eat tomorrow? For most of human history, starvation was not a distant possibility. It was a constant threat. Long before supermarkets, refrigerators, farms, or even villages, your ancestors lived in a world where food could disappear without warning. A herd might migrate away. A drought could kill edible plants. Winter could bury everything beneath ice and snow. Yet somehow, humans survived. Not only did they survive, but they spread across deserts, jungles, mountains, frozen tundra, and islands separated by vast oceans. They reached places where almost every other large animal struggled to live. The strangest part is how they did it. Many of the methods ancient humans used to avoid starvation would seem bizarre, disgusting, or unbelievable today. Take bone marrow. Imagine a hunting party returning with almost nothing. The meat has been eaten, every visible scrap is gone. To a modern person, the remains might look useless. Your ancestors saw treasure. Archaeologists have discovered countless animal bones shattered into pieces at prehistoric sites across Africa, Europe, and Asia. The reason was simple. Inside those bones was marrow, a fatty substance packed with calories. Fat was often more valuable than meat. Protein can keep a person alive, but fat provides enormous amounts of energy. During harsh seasons, when every calorie mattered, marrow could mean the difference between life and death. Ancient humans smashed open leg bones with stones, sometimes hours after the animal had been butchered. Nothing was wasted. A carcass was not food. It was a collection of opportunities. Even skulls were cracked open. Brains are rich in fat and nutrients. Archaeological evidence suggests many hunter-gatherers carefully opened animal skulls to access the brain tissue inside. It sounds unpleasant today, but to someone facing starvation, it was one of the most valuable foods available. This pattern appears again and again throughout prehistory. Whenever food became scarce, humans looked for calories where other animals did not. They became experts at finding hidden energy. Researchers studying modern hunter-gatherer societies have repeatedly observed this behavior. Anthropologist Richard Lee's famous work with the Jew Hwansi people of the Kalahari Desert revealed an incredible knowledge of edible resources that outsiders often overlooked completely. What appeared to be an empty landscape was actually a giant pantry. Roots hidden underground, nuts buried beneath sand, tubers invisible to anyone lacking generations of experience. Many ancient humans likely survived famine because they knew where to dig. While large animals receive most of the attention in documentaries, plants often saved lives. Underground storage organs, including roots and tubers, function like natural emergency food reserves. Unlike berries or fruits, they cannot simply run away. They remain hidden beneath the soil, waiting. Some required hours of digging. Others needed cooking to remove toxins, yet they were dependable. When game animals vanished, the ground itself became a source of survival. Then there were insects. Few people enjoy imagining insects as dinner, yet throughout human history, they have been an important source of nutrition. Termites, ants, beetle larvae, grasshoppers, and caterpillars contain protein, fats, and essential nutrients. In many environments, they are easier to find than large game animals. Some anthropologists believe insects may have played a significant role in helping early humans survive difficult periods. Think about it. A deer can escape, a mammoth can kill you. A colony of termites stays exactly where it is. When starvation approaches, reliability matters more than prestige. Ancient humans understood this perfectly. The same logic applied to shellfish. For decades, many researchers underestimated the importance of coastal food gathering. Then discoveries at sites like Pinnacle Point in South Africa changed the conversation. Evidence suggested that humans were harvesting shellfish roughly 160,000 years ago. That is astonishingly old. While hunting large animals carries an uncertainty, shellfish often remain available along coastlines. At low tide, people could gather mussels, limpets, and other marine creatures with relatively little danger. Some researchers now believe these coastal resources may have helped certain human populations survive environmental crises that wiped out others. The ocean became a backup food supply, a safety net. a giant refrigerator that never truly closed. But perhaps the strangest survival strategy involved something modern people rarely consider: rotting food. Today, spoiled food is thrown away immediately. Ancient humans sometimes viewed it differently. Many traditional cultures discovered that controlled fermentation could preserve food far longer than fresh storage allowed. Meat buried underground, fish left to ferment, plant foods intentionally transformed by bacteria. The smells were often powerful, the appearance could be alarming, yet fermentation created opportunities where none existed before. Instead of losing precious calories, people extended their food supply. Long before chemistry existed, humans were conducting biological experiments without realizing it. They learned through observation what made people sick, what remained edible, what lasted through winter. Over thousands of generations, this knowledge accumulated. The result was a growing library of survival techniques passed from parents to children. Knowledge became food. In fact, knowledge may have been the most important food source humans ever possessed. Consider the difference between a starving outsider and a starving local hunter. Both face the same landscape. One sees nothing, the other sees possibilities: a patch of edible roots, a hidden water source, an overlooked nest, a seasonal migration route. The environment itself never changes. What changes is the information inside the human mind. Anthropologist James Sussman has often emphasized that hunter-gatherers possess remarkably detailed environmental knowledge. Their understanding of local ecosystems frequently surpasses anything most modern people could imagine. That knowledge translated directly into survival. The person who knew where food could be found was often the person who lived. Yet even this was sometimes not enough. There were moments when entire communities faced disaster. During ice ages, droughts, volcanic events, and climate shifts, food sources could collapse across enormous regions. When that happened, humans relied on another strange strategy. They ate things that normally were not worth eating: animal hides, tree bark, certain grasses, seeds so small they required enormous effort to collect. Many prehistoric populations expanded their diet dramatically during hard times. Archaeologists call some of these foods fallback foods. They are not preferred foods, they are emergency foods. You eat them because the alternative is worse. Evidence from ancient teeth even suggests that some populations consumed surprisingly tough and gritty plant materials during difficult periods. Imagine spending hours collecting enough tiny seeds to make a single meal. Imagine grinding them by hand with stone tools. Imagine doing it while hungry. That effort only makes sense if starvation is the alternative. Humans repeatedly chose effort over extinction, again and again. This pattern appears throughout the archaeological record. When conditions worsened, people adapted. When food disappeared, they searched wider. When familiar resources failed, they experimented. Curiosity became a survival tool. Flexibility became a superpower. Many large Ice Age animals were highly specialized. They depended on specific environments and specific food sources. Humans were different. Humans could change. That ability may explain why your species survived while so many others vanished. One fascinating example comes from the last glacial maximum, the coldest phase of the last ice age. Huge portions of the northern hemisphere became brutally cold. Food was limited. Growing seasons were short. Many regions appeared almost uninhabitable, yet humans remained. Archaeological evidence suggests people hunted, fished, trapped small animals, gathered plants, stored food, shared resources, and adapted their strategies continuously. No single solution saved them. The solution was variety. If one food source failed, another might remain. If hunting was poor, gathering might succeed. If local resources disappeared, people could move. Adaptability reduced risk, and risk was the true enemy. Starvation rarely arrives in a single dramatic moment. More often, it emerges through a chain of failures. One bad hunt, one poor season, one unexpected storm, one migration that never arrives. Ancient humans developed strange habits because strange habits often interrupted that chain. The weirdest survival techniques were not accidents. They were solutions. Some involved cracking bones for hidden fat. Some involved digging for invisible roots. Some involved collecting insects. Some involved harvesting shellfish. Some involved preserving food through fermentation. Some involved eating fallback foods that nobody actually wanted. Each strategy solved the same problem: how do you survive one more day? The answer was rarely heroic. It was practical. Popular culture often imagines ancient humans as fearless hunters battling giant beasts across dramatic landscapes. Sometimes that happened. But much of survival involved patience, observation, and creativity. It involved noticing details, remembering locations, learning patterns, sharing information. The image of a lone survivor conquering nature is largely a myth. Real human survival was usually collective. Knowledge spread through families, food was often shared, skills were taught, mistakes became lessons for future generations. Polly Wiesner's research among hunter gatherer communities has shown how social networks can act as survival systems. People exchange resources, information, and support across large distances. In difficult times, those connections matter. Sometimes the best defense against starvation was not finding more food, it was knowing more people. A hungry group connected to allies had options. An isolated group often did not. In that sense, friendship itself became a survival technology. Perhaps the strangest realization of all is that the human body still carries echoes of this ancient struggle. Your craving for calorie-rich foods, your attraction to fat and sugar, your tendency to worry about scarcity. These traits developed in a world where starvation was a constant possibility. The modern world feels different. Food surrounds you, stores stay stocked, meals appear with a few taps on a screen. Yet for nearly all of human history, none of that existed. Every meal represented countless generations of experimentation. Every bite reflected lessons learned through hardship. The weirdest ways ancient humans avoided starvation were not signs of desperation alone. They were signs of intelligence. Faced with an unforgiving world, your ancestors refused to limit themselves to obvious solutions. They searched beneath the ground, inside bones, along coastlines, within insect colonies, through social networks across entire landscapes invisible to outsiders. And because they did, they survived droughts, winters, climate disasters, and countless hungry seasons. The next time you open a refrigerator packed with food, it is worth remembering that somewhere deep in your past, a distant ancestor was cracking open a bone with a stone tool, searching for the last hidden calories of the day. Without strange solutions like that, neither of you would be here.